So my father passed away a couple of months back from a heart attack, and recently I found out about my half-sister from his will. My mother had passed away when I was in middle school, so everything that my father had was to be divided among three people: my grandmother, and my sister. For the record, I had no idea that this person existed until a couple of weeks ago when my lawyer was discussing it with us. But apparently, she was around my age and my father had been taking care of her financially ever since she was born. I'll refer to her as Erica for the purpose of the post. So I am 31 years old and she is around 28. After a long discussion with my dad's lawyer, I learned that my father had had an affair with a coworker for a couple of months and he had wanted to end the affair, but then, she got pregnant and she wanted to keep the baby. So he decided to step up and be there for her as the father of the baby. He paid child support and would meet her occasionally on alternate weekends. We are not aware if my mother knew about it or not, but it doesn't make a difference anymore, since the fact of the matter was that after so long, I found out that my dad had a lot of skeletons in his closet. Even though he is gone now and I should probably just forgive him because he was always there for me in spite of everything that I know now, it just feels like I didn't know him at all. It was a bummer for me, I'm being honest. I am aware that I should let it go, but it's just a very difficult thing to come to terms with. Anyway, when my dad's lawyer asked me if I wanted to have any sort of contact with Erica, I told him that I would think about it and let him know. I know it's not her fault, but I just did not want to see her. It's too soon and everything is just too fresh, so I did not want to look heartless is why I said I'd think about it. But in reality, I had made up my mind that I did not want to have any sort of relationship with this person, at least not so soon. My grandmother, however, was of the opinion that I should give it a chance and see how it feels like to have a sister. Even though she's not exactly my full sister, she would be my half-sister and I'm not interested in getting to know her, but I did not say anything to my grandmother since she had agreed to see Erica already and I could tell that she wanted to establish a relationship with this woman. That was a couple of weeks ago, I'd say almost 5 weeks back, and just 2 weeks ago, I received a shock when I realized that Erica had moved in next door and we were going to be neighbors now. I found out about this on the weekend. I was just having a lie-in, and then my bell started ringing, and it was strange because I usually don't have visitors so early in the morning. But then, I opened the door and I found Erica standing outside. Now, obviously, when I had found out about her, I had stalked her on social media, and I knew how she looked. But I did not expect her to be standing right outside my house, and when I saw her, I literally had nothing to say because I was in shock. But she seemed very happy to see me and said that she had come all the way from New York, where she had been living for the past couple of years, to meet me and had even rented the house next door because she wanted to live close to me. She introduced herself and said that she and her boyfriend ran a PR agency for social media creators and they had a bunch of money, and then it made sense how she could just afford to fly down here and rent a house just because she wanted to bond with me. After making some small talk with me, she decided to address the elephant in the room and said that while I had never known about her, she had always known that I existed and had heard a lot about me from our father but hadn't reached out because our dad had told her I wouldn't be ready, and he was right, I still wasn't. It still felt weird to address him as our dad, but anyway, I was very awkward around her in the first place because I was not expecting her, and on top of that, she seemed so excited to see me that I felt like a bad person for not wanting her around. Besides, she had come all the way from New York and had rented the house close to me, when she could still be living with her boyfriend in their nice house which I had seen on social media. So she was doing all of this for me and I didn't even want to be around her, which made me feel bad, so I decided to give it a shot and was nice to her. She told me that after I had told our dad's lawyer that I wanted some time to think about whether I wanted to have a relationship with her or not, he had refused to give her my address, but she had been talking to our grandmother, and apparently, she was the one who had suggested this whole idea and even given her my contact info and my address so she could surprise me and so that we could bond with each other. I was not happy that my grandma had done that because she knew that I was still thinking these things over. I had not come to a decision yet, so she had no right to just give out my address like that. But anyway, after I spent that morning talking to Erica, I thought that I might give our relationship a chance because surely if she was putting in so much effort to connect with me, she couldn't be that bad of a person. Last week, when we met for the first time, I thought she was nice and sweet and I thought that maybe we could get to know each other over the course of the next couple of months because she had said that she was sick of living in New York and their business was at a stage where it was pretty much running itself. And everybody worked from home anyway, so she could just move down here to be closer to her mother and also to me and her grandma. I was a little intimidated by the thought of having to live with her as my neighbor, but I started feeling guilty about it almost immediately seeing how nice she was being to me, so I told her that it would be a fantastic idea. I had honestly believed that an early morning visit was just a one-time thing that day since she had just landed the previous night and couldn't wait to see me. And I had assumed that when she said that she wanted to build a relationship with me, she meant that we could take our time and do it. But something really weird started happening, and she started showing up at my house every other day. Every morning, she would show up with something for breakfast and I would be forced to have breakfast with her, even though I'm really not a morning person and I prefer being alone for my morning coffee so that I don't have to talk to anybody and I can just be with my thoughts for a while. But she would show up with either donuts or bagels and coffee for me, and then she would start talking every morning, and then I would leave for work just to get away from her. For the first couple of days, I tried to tolerate it because I thought she was just being nice. But then, after almost 4 days, she started showing up at my house after I came back home from work as well. That was a huge problem for me because I'm an oncologist and I guess everybody knows that my line of work is pretty stressful. So I really need my time and space when I get back home. I can't just walk in and immediately start entertaining guests. But as soon as I got home, she would be at my door within almost 15 minutes, and I would be forced to welcome her inside and hang out with her. It was getting really exhausting for me and I knew that she was just trying to be nice and build a relationship with me, but she couldn't just force her way into having a good relationship. She had to actually give me my space and respect my boundaries if she wanted us to get along well. 2 days ago, I finally got back home after an exceptionally exhausting day at work and I just wanted to do nothing but curl up with a good book and a glass of wine and then go to sleep. Unfortunately, Erica showed up at my door once again just as I had returned home and had freshened up. I had already been pretty annoyed with her behavior and decided that I couldn't take any more of this. So I opened the door and instead of inviting her inside like I usually do, I told her that I needed her to back off a little bit. My tone might have been a bit rough, but I was still trying to be as polite and civilized as I could because I was bone tired and I just didn't want to talk to anybody. Anyway, I told her to her face that I needed my space and I needed time to get along with her. We couldn't start being all sisterly within a matter of 2 weeks. It was not enough. She had known that I existed for her entire life, but I had just found out about her a couple of months ago and it was not the same thing for me at all. So I needed her to respect that and respect my boundaries. I told her that she would still be welcome to hang out at my place on the weekends, but on the weekdays, after I had come back home from work, I just did not have the energy to deal with anything and I wanted to just relax. I told her that I hoped she would understand where I was coming from and she said that she respected it, and after she left, I finally shut the door. Throughout that interaction, she had a poker face, so I couldn't exactly guess what she was feeling, but I knew that I had tried to be as polite and nice as possible, so I didn't feel particularly guilty about what I had said. However, yesterday, I received a phone call from my grandmother, and she expressed how disappointed she was in me because of how I had treated Erica. She said that the poor girl was just trying to be nice to me and make up for last time, which is why she was so insistent on spending as much time with me as she could because in a couple of weeks, she would still have to go back to her boyfriend and wrap everything up in New York so she could move back here permanently. And she seemed really excited about having a sister, finally, so she was just trying to get to know me, and instead of appreciating that, I had told her to back down. I thought that my grandmother was being a bit unfair and I told her that I just wanted space and I wanted to respect my boundaries. That was it. I was still open to having a relationship with her, just not one that was moving so fast. I tried to explain that to my grandmother, but she just said that I owed Erica an apology because apparently she was crushed after what I had said, and she felt like she had forced her company onto me when I did not appreciate it. Here is the thing, I can understand why Erica would not understand why I said what I said since it's not really been that long that she has known me. But my grandmother has known me for my entire life and I felt like at least she should understand where I'm coming from. Everyone who knows me knows that I am a total introvert and I really don't like spending time with people. I would much rather be on my own and it's not a thing about being superior, I just like spending time by myself and occasionally, with my friends. I am not in a place where I can call her my friend because honestly, she has been nice to me, but whenever she comes over, she just talks about herself and her life and it gets kind of boring after a while because I don't even get to talk. I don't understand how she expects to get to know me better if she is doing all the talking, but anyway, that's not the point right now. I am an introvert and I'm in my 30s right now, I really just need my peace and quiet and I would expect my grandmother to understand that. Instead, we ended up getting into a fight over the phone because of this since she had taken a very accusatory tone with me and was acting like I was trying to hurt Erica on purpose. She expected me to apologize for what I said and I told her that I was not apologizing for having boundaries, so she told me that since I was intent on being on my own, she thought it would be for the best if she cut me off as well since she didn't want to bother me too much. I thought that it was very hurtful since she was basically threatening to cut me off if I did not play nice with Erica, even though she was kind of getting on my nerves. But now, I've thought about it, and I don't know what to believe anymore. At the end of the day, Erica was actually just trying to be nice to me and I'm the one who slammed that door shut. And after that fight with my grandmother, I feel like even more of a jerk for what I did. I just don't know what to feel anymore, but at the same time, I feel like somewhere my actions are justified. I don't want to speak to any of my friends about this at the moment because I need an unbiased and objective opinion. And that's why I'm on Reddit, I guess. So, Ida for telling my half-sister to back off and telling her that I need my space and I can't hang out with her every day. Update 1. So after going through the comments, I came to the conclusion that what I did was the right thing to do. I need my space and time to process everything that I have learned. I can't do that if she keeps showing up at my door every single day. So I'm sticking to my decision and I've told my grandmother that I'm not going to talk to Erica and apologize to her. I don't even have anything to apologize for, in the first place. I was pretty nice to Erica as I had said. Anyway, it has been a couple of days and Erica has not shown up at my house ever since I told her to back off. And after that last conversation that I had with my grandmother, she hasn't spoken to me either. I guess she's not gonna talk to me until I apologize to Erica, and that's not going to happen. We are at a dead end right now. Last evening, I was pretty sure that when I came back home from work, I saw my grandmother leaving Erica's house. She just lives a couple of houses away. We can mostly just walk to each other's places. And I'm pretty sure that when I entered my house, I saw her from my window and I realized that she was probably around to visit Erica and not me. I feel bad that this is happening since I'm really close to my grandma. My dad just passed away recently. I can't deal with the fact that she's trying to give me the cold shoulder now. But I was the one who said that I wanted some peace and quiet and time to myself, so I guess I can't force her to talk to me. I guess that just sucks that I had actually expected her to understand where I was coming from because she has known me ever since I was a child, but now, it seems like she's pretty decisive about whose side she is on. Even though she didn't even need to pick sides, she could have just respected my opinion and let it be. I don't mean to be whiny, but I also feel like Erica had no reason to complain about this to my grandmother because I have been as nice as I possibly could to her. But from what my grandmother told me, Erica had made it sound like I had been very curt and harsh with her. Anyway, I can't force people to understand me and respect my opinions. So if they want to pretend that I'm the villain just for having boundaries, they are free to do so. At least I have my own space now, and I can come back home and relax on my own instead of having to entertain guests as soon as I wake up as soon as I return from work. At least that's one good thing that has come out of all of this. Update 2. 2 weeks ago, I posted my last update. Since then, nothing much has really happened. Erica had stopped visiting me, and a couple of days back, I saw her getting into a cab with some of her stuff. It was the weekend and I was taking a walk around the neighborhood like I usually do on the mornings of my weekends. I couldn't help but ask her where she was headed, and she told me she was going to the airport because she was going back to New York for a couple of days so she could wrap everything up and come back here with her boyfriend. When she spoke to me, her tone was very different from earlier, and I tried not to feel weird about it, but I kind of did. She was very short with me and I felt a bit taken aback, but then I figured that she did not like the fact that I had tried to draw a line, and while she did do it, she did not appreciate it. That was her call to make. I can't exactly judge her for that. If she doesn't like me anymore and thinks that I'm the bad guy for saying what I did, I can't help it. I haven't even been able to speak to my grandmother ever since that last phone call that we had because I haven't apologized to Erica, and now, I feel like I did the right thing because this morning, my grandmother showed up at my place. I thought that she was here to finally sort things out and I was kind of happy, but then, she said that she was here to discuss my behavior with me. I was very confused about what she meant until she said that she had been thinking about it and she believed that I needed a therapist so that I could process my emotions and let them out in a healthy way instead of isolating myself from people who care about me. That was a pretty bizarre thing to say because I had not isolated myself from anybody. All I had done was tell Erica that I did not want to see her every single day, but I was still open to talking to her grandmother and keeping in touch with her. She was who was shutting me out. And as for isolating myself, I don't think I'm doing that at all. I hang out with my coworkers during lunchtime and occasionally, I will meet up with my friends, and that's how it has been since forever. I just don't like going out of the house to hang out with people or having people over every single day. I think that's a pretty normal thing to do and I don't need a therapist for that. I got a bit offended when she said that and I told her that I was perfectly healthy and normal, so I didn't need her to take me to a therapist. Besides, if I had to, I would probably prefer going because I wanted to deal with the loss of my father, and not because she thought that I was being weird just because I did not want to hang out with my sister, who I didn't even know existed until a couple of weeks ago, just by the way. And then my grandmother said that she strongly believed that speaking to a mental health professional would do me a world of good because the way that I was acting was just not right and she was getting worried about me. So I asked her if she was really worried about me, then why hadn't she spoken to me all these days? And then she told me that she had wanted me to reach out to her and also apologize to Erica like she had told me earlier. But since I was too stubborn to do any of that, she had to come to talk to me herself, and she had started believing that since my father had passed away, I had probably started thinking of Erica as the villain. It was so ridiculous because I did not think badly of Erica, I just wanted some space from her. And no matter how hard I tried to explain that to her, she just wouldn't get it. On top of that, she started talking about how concerned she was about me and said that if I continued acting like this, I would be left with nobody in the end. I finally snapped after and told her that I pretty much had nobody from my family left to count on since both my parents were gone now, and she too believed that I needed help, but wasn't willing to actually talk to me. So I wasn't too worried about being on my own anymore. Then, I told her that I had to leave for work and I was getting late, so she left and that was it. I had a pretty exhausting day at work as well because I was in such a terrible mood. I feel like both my grandmother and Erica are taking things too far and are trying to make me feel guilty for no reason. Today, I was feeling so annoyed that I finally ended up speaking to a couple of my friends about what had happened, and I told them everything. After listening to me, most of them were of the opinion that I did not do anything wrong. I was nice to everybody, but I just made it clear that I needed some space. There's nothing bad about it, and if somebody feels offended by that, they don't deserve a place in my life at all. And if my grandmother thinks that there's something wrong with me mentally, she can go on with that belief and continue to make me seem like the bad guy. I really don't care anymore because I'm done dealing with such immature and weird people. Update 3. 3 days have passed since my last update and a lot of things have happened since then. Like I had said, my grandmother wanted me to speak to a therapist, so I could sort out my feelings, even though I was pretty clear about what I had wanted. Anyway, she did not say anything to me that day, but the next day, she started texting me again and sent me a list of therapists around me, and even ones who would conduct therapy sessions online. The implication that there had to be something wrong with me for not wanting to entertain Erica every day was getting on my nerves, so I didn't block her, but I muted all her notifications and I haven't responded to her since. And after what I just found out, I hardly think that I will. Anyway, yesterday, while I was at work, my dad's lawyer called me and said that he wanted to discuss something with me, so we got on a call a couple of minutes later and he told me that my dad's affair partner from earlier had said that she wanted to speak to me. Initially, he had told me that Erica's mother had no interest in speaking to me, but Erica wanted to build a relationship with us. So now, her sudden change of heart came as a surprise to me. I thought that it would have something to do with my behavior with Erica, and I thought that she was going to berate me just the same way that my grandmother had, and I really didn't need any more of that. So my first impulse was to say no because I really didn't want any more drama, but then, my dad's lawyer said that he thought that I should speak to her since when she had called him. She said that it was pretty urgent and she needed to discuss it with me immediately. That got me thinking and I told him to give her my phone number so she could call me. Half an hour later, she finally called me up and after introducing herself, she came straight to the point. She told me that she and her daughter had always known about me and she was sorry about the passing of my father, but she had recently found out from Erica that I thought my grandmother had no idea about the affair until recently, and I believed that she had found out at the same time as I did. She wanted me to know that my grandmother had known about all of this and had been a very active part of their life so far. She told me that my grandmother was lying to me about everything, and when she found out about it, she decided that she couldn't keep her mouth shut about it because she thought it was wrong on several levels. When she told me all of this, I felt incredibly betrayed because my grandmother had known that I had a sister and had never bothered to tell me anything. And on top of that, I have to hand it to her, she was a great actress because she didn't even let me guess that she might have known Erica just as long as she had known me. Erica, too, had lied to me about everything. But I was not as hurt about that as I was about my grandmother lying to me because I had barely known her. I thanked Erica's mother for telling me the truth, and then I hung up. After this, I was pretty determined never to speak to my grandmother or Erica ever again because both of them knew the truth, and I had been kept in the dark. I think that if anybody really needs therapy, it's the two of them and not me. It's very obvious that the two of them are a team and everything makes sense now. So while I have still not blocked either of them, I'm definitely going to make sure that I don't have to speak to them again. I'm still trying to process all of this and come to terms with it. I guess that I was right when I said I pretty much don't have anybody in my family that I can count on. It sucks that literally everybody I have known has been lying to me for so long and wouldn't be surprised if I found out that my mother had also known about the affair. Anyway, anybody who wants a summary of what I have said, it's basically that I have a family of liars. And I know that I can't trust anybody ever again. Update 4. Hi, a couple of months have passed since my last update. I have remained in no contact with my grandmother and Erica. She lives right next door with her boyfriend, but we don't even say hi to each other and I'm fine with that. In fact, I actually pray for that because all of them are liars and I don't even want to have to see them. But unfortunately, she already rented that house and I don't have a say in it. My grandmother visits Erica quite frequently and she hasn't bothered to reach out to me after I cut her off a couple of months back after I found out the truth about her. Initially, I used to feel really bad about it because I felt like I had no family left, but honestly, after a while, I came to terms with it. I realized that having no family would be better than having the kind of family who lies to you and never respects you. At least I have my friends with me, and I know for a fact that they are always going to be there for me so far. They are the only people who I have been able to count on. My life is honestly going great right now and I'm cool with everything that has happened. I'm willing to put the past in the past and move on.